everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully those of you who've been doing the classes so far have been enjoying them. Maybe you've learned something, maybe you've tried something new. And for those of you who are just doing this kind of like handstand class, let's see how we get on today. So basically, a handstand, in my opinion, is like, it's really a skill. It's not just a shape that you're making, and it's taken me years and years and years to be able to actually hold it. And then I've only recently, in the past, like, I think 6 or 7 months, started being able to press up and float up into a handstand. So it's something that you gotta really commit to. Like, it takes a lot of dedication. You can't be half-assed, because at the end of the day, you're trying to walk on your hands and balance on your hands, which is a bit weird in itself. So, you know, first of all, equipment that you're going to need. This is like, it reminds me of like a weight that you'd see in like Gold's Gym in like the 80s. It's like, because we're going to do a little bit of weighted stuff. I would say, to begin with, no matter how strong you think you are, get about 2 kilos. So even if that's like, you could use like a water bottle or something. If you did have 2 kilos, 1 kilo, 1.5, because we'll be using that right at the very end of the session. And then you'll need a resistance band. I'm just showing you, there's like, this one's actually a longer one that I've tied up. This is a short one. Again, we'll be using that more towards the end of the class, if we get around to it, just for flossing out shoulders and things, for a bit of a stretch. And you will also most definitely need 2 blocks, or books, something that elevates the floor. A mat, if you've got one. If not, you could probably just, I wouldn't want to really use a wooden floor unless you're very comfortable falling, in case you do. And then you'll also need some wall space for sure, and some space around you, because today, oh, and I'm going to send you a playlist as well. I'll tell you when to put that on. It's just kind of the type of music I like to sort of train to and work out to, that kind of just gets me like, it makes me want to move. So today I'll be showing you basically the components of a handstand, breaking it down rather than just being like, okay, get up, get up, get up. Because I think for me, it's much more intelligent to actually understand what makes up, what are the parts that make up this shape, and how do I individually train those parts to then bring it all together like a jigsaw piece. So then you've got like the bigger picture at the end. And then it also kind of gives you that sense of like, well, like, you've really deserved it when you get that handstand, because you're like, oh my God, I've put so much work into how to protract my shoulders and how to push the ground away and how to interact with the floor with my fingers. So I'll teach you the different components of it. We'll do different exercises for that. And this is stuff that I do like probably 3 times a week. Some of the exercises I do daily. Most importantly, how to fall. Most people's fear with handstand is because they're scared of falling out of it and hurting themselves. And I always remember my teacher, Cameron, saying, why are you so surprised that the floor is there? The floor has always been there. So learn how to fall. Make friends with the floor, essentially. And there's a couple of ways that you can learn how to fall out of a handstand. We're going to use the wall a little bit, but you are not getting addicted to the wall. The wall could be like a drug, you know, could be a good idea a few times. You have to learn how to use it, because if you overuse it, you're codependent, and then it's really hard to come away from the wall. So we will learn how to use a wall. And handstands are about, there's kind of a paradox, I think, you know, we do intend there's a finesse to a handstand, there's a grace, there's a beautiful power in it and a strength, but then there's also like a massive amount of mess trying to learn how to do it. And there's a massive amount of tolerance and trust that's involved. There's a huge amount of dedication and a huge amount of focus. So before we begin, Um, One of my favourite teachers, Duncan, he teaches in Melbourne. He's just incredible. I always remember going to one of his classes, and one of the things that he spoke about in this class, it was a class for teachers, is he said that there's 3 tenets that make up an advanced practice. And handstands are an advanced position. So you doing this right now, you're doing something that would be, you know, an advanced practice. And those 3 tenets are sustained attention. So in yoga, sometimes we will call that the dharana, the concentration, sustained attention, that ability to pinpoint, focus your brain, hone in. Because if your awareness is all over the place in a handstand and you're like, ooh, what am I going to have for dinner? Ooh, what outfit am I going to wear tomorrow? Ooh, oh my God, how long is this quarantine going to go on? You're just going to fall out. You're going to be all over the show. So you need to be like, I'm here. I'm in this moment. I'm on my hands. Holy fuck, I'm in a handstand. Focus. The second tenet would be subtle body awareness. All of the little delicacies and intricacies of yourself. It's really important. This is why I say I'm going to break down the handstand, to understand, what do I do with my thumb pad? What's going on with my knuckles? How do I stack my joints? How am I pushing out of my shoulders? What's going on with my pelvis? There's so much intricacy in every shape that you ever do, but you know, in something like this that's a hand balance, you need that real subtle body awareness. And that also reminds me of what we call tapas in yoga. And tapas is unfortunately not your patatas bravas and your chorizo and the edible kind, but this tapas is all about fire, self-discipline, determination, pushing through and basically, you know, pushing past your limits and moving into the unknown. That's what tapas is all about. And then the third tenet would be compassion. And we all know what compassion is. Give yourself a break when you need to have a break. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you don't even crack a handstand once in this session. Just treat it as a learning curve. What can you take from it? What do you notice where your weaknesses are? Where are your strengths? How can you be kind to yourself, more so with your words in your own mind? Listen to that inner narrative. In that sense, we can bring this around to the notion of ahimsa in yoga, this non-violence, non-harm, be kind, be gentle. So there are 3 tenets of what make a advanced practice: sustained attention, subtle body awareness, compassion. See if you can maintain those 3 things through the entirety of this practice, and then at least you can say you've done something. Because we'll be moving a lot, you know, and that's important whilst we're in this moment of outer stillness. The external world has been put pretty much on pause. I mean, there's a lot of chaos happening, but we've been told stop, pause. But as Pip wants me to quote S Club 7, don't stop moving, honeys. So let's begin with breaking down this handstand. So, also, we're going to do some slidey stuff. So get some slippery socks on, and hopefully you've got a wooden floor or a tiled floor or somewhere where you can slip on. If not, I don't really know what to suggest. You can, I suppose you could glide on a carpet somehow. Maybe some people, you can have like, some people have sliders, or maybe you can find something that can slip on the floor that you can put your feet on if you can't wear socks and you don't have a wooden floor. I don't know. You'll deal with that. I don't need to hold your hand in that sense. So yeah, handstand. Hands are going to embody the feet. Handstand. Hands, we're going to create something called a hasta bandha, which is like a hand energy lock. We're going to really think of, in our handstand, the hands are like, you ever see like a gecko or like frogs or little, you know, little creatures that climb on walls, and they have these like suction pads and they just stick to things. We kind of want to mimic that in nature and imagine that you're kind of sticking to the floor with your fingertips and your bottom knuckles, but at the same time you're also using the hands to navigate where the weight is on the ground. So we'll be working with warming wrists up. We'll get into our shoulders. Shoulders are complex. Shoulders, we need them to be strong. We need them to be fired up big time. Core. Core is not just six pack. Core, back and front. And I'm gonna basically incorporate kind of glutes in the core as well. And we'll look at the same time at the tilt of the pelvis. So hopefully you guys can see here. Pelvis for me now is neutral. Anterior tilt is arse back. Anterior, think like Beyonce, think twerking, anterior tilt. We don't want that in a handstand, not when we're learning how to do it. We want to do a posterior tilt, which is the glute squeezed and the pubic bone rolling up towards the sternum. Probably most of you already know what this is, but just when I'm using these cues, when I'm saying posterior tilt or tuck tailbone or draw pubic bone towards your sternum, you know that it's this. Hips are going forwards and up. Posterior tilt, so anterior, posterior. I think of posterior as penis forward, anterior, arse back. Whatever floats your boat, whatever helps it stick in there. Okay. I think that's all I need to talk about for now. If you have a pull-up bar, pause this video right now and go and hang on your pull-up bar for up to 1 minute if you can. Go and hang, go and do it. We'll start creating that grip strength. That grip strength will build your forearms, which will help you eternally and infinitely with your arm balances. And when you hang, just let everything be passive. Let the shoulders be passive. So go, 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 go. If you've got one, I've already done it. Okay. Music, cue, put it on. So, let's come onto our mats. And I need my notes for this one. Even though I do this stuff like 3 times a week, I still forget what I'm doing sometimes. I'm human. So, wrists. We are going to come into a tabletop position. So, spread your fingers out nice and wide whilst you're in your tabletop. And take a moment just to align your shoulders over your wrists and align your hips over your knees. And then we're just going to start pretty gently, just taking circles around the wrist. So feel a little bit into your wrist joint. Notice if you are getting feedback from the wrists. Quite a lot of people struggle with arm balances and handstands because of issues with their wrists. I'm with you on that one. I've had injuries in both of my wrists. I've take it in the opposite direction now, by the way. Yeah, I've had a lot of issues with my wrists, and to be honest, doing calisthenics, doing body weight training, and doing some of the work that we're going to do today has really, really helped me to build stability in the wrist because I've strengthened my shoulders and my forearms. Okay, now let's flip the fingertips to face the outer edges of the mat. So they're like this. The wrists are facing one another. And you can keep the same distance between your hands, or if it feels comfortable for you, bring your forearms a little bit closer to one another. And then you're just going to gently sway side to side. And see if you can notice at what point your palm lifts. Mine lifts quite early. I don't have a lot of extension in my wrist, so you might be able to see if I face you how early. Like this is it. This is all that I have in my wrist before my palm lifts, and that's fine. That's normal. We're going to train some more. We're going to train the wrists a little bit more so we can get that extra flexion. Okay, and then let's turn our fingertips to face towards our knees and our thumbs face outwards. This can feel really quite funky for some people. So bend your elbows a little bit or walk your knees a little bit closer if you need to. And then try to keep the palms pressing down on the ground and just gently rock back and forth so you're stretching a little bit more into the forearms. this a few more times. Okay, and then turn your hands. So we're going to turn them all the way around, basically doing a 360. So thumbs are facing outwards again, but notice how my shoulders are internally rotated here. So it looks quite strange, feels quite strange as well. But again, really gentle rock back and forth here, because this is quite a, for me it feels like quite an extreme position to be in. But again, I get some sensation through the forearms, and it's just another sort of way to explore your wrists and the shoulders. And then unravel. Now make some fists and just kind of mash through your hands. Just see if you can roll onto all of the different surfaces, even taking a moment to roll on this edge where the thumb, like the sort of inner edge of the hand where the thumb is. Maybe you roll onto there if you want to. You can tuck your thumb into your fingers and take a little roll. For me, that really stretches through the edge of my thumb. Almost feels like a nerve stretch for me. And just take a moment, do the other side. Just explore all the different edges, all the different surfaces of your hand. You don't have to mimic and do exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of investigating this particular area of my hand. And then finally, let's come on to the backs of the hands. So this again can feel pretty extreme for some people. It depends on how used to you are putting weight onto the backs of the hands. Walk the knees in closer to the hands if you need to, but begin to straighten your elbows and get them to the point whether you're as straight as you can physically go without causing pain. We don't want pain. You know, sensation that feels like a stretch is not painful generally. Like we know the difference. And so you can either just be here and gently rock back and forth, side to side, or if you like to, you can try to make a fist and then release the hands, and then make fists, release. So just maybe play with both options, rocking and then creating fists. Your hands probably won't make a fist. Mine look like these little sort of weird claws. But this just stretches out the back of the wrists and the back of the hands a little bit too. Okay, and then bend your elbows, release for a moment. Give the wrists a little shake, a little roll out, a little squeeze. And then come in back onto all fours. We'll take some wrist push-ups, which ideally I would love to be able to do these with you in person because they're quite specific. So please try to be incredibly aware, use that subtle body awareness. Be aware of the positioning of your body and be aware of how you're moving when we do these. So the wrist push-ups, you can. The intention here is to keep shoulders, elbows, wrists stacked. The body is not going to rock back and forth like so. We are simply going to lift the palms so you come onto the bottom knuckles, all fingers are connected with the ground, and then we lower the palms back down. And so we lift and lower like this. You can do this at first with your thumb down, but then to take it up a notch and really work through the wrists, lift your thumb off the ground and keep the thumb lifted the whole time. So we'll do 10 of these together, so lifting for 10, 9, try not to rock back and forth, keep your belly button drawn in, 7, 6, maybe slightly lean forwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax for a moment. We'll do another round of those. This time we'll do 15. So really try to ensure that there is no rocking back and forth. We are lifting directly up and lowering directly down. Keep your core, keep your abdomen nice and hugged in, so we're not dipping into the belly and doing an anterior tilt. Think of even slightly squeezing your glutes here, slight posterior tilt, so everything is set, everything's in integrity in the rest of the body. Okay, let's go again. Lift the thumbs if you did last time. Don't worry if not, and if you're like, that's also fine. These are hard. These take time to get. You might even go one hand, opposite hand down. Just find out your flavor with this, but know that you're doing the work and know where the effort is. I start to feel it in forearms, and I even start to get it all the way up in my shoulders when I really go at these. So we'll do 15 a little bit quicker now. So 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. I think we'll do one more. And we'll do 20, but quite quick. Okay, let's get straight into it. Set yourself up. Everything is locked in. Lift the thumbs if you want. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Whew. Hello, forearms. So if you want to, bring the backs of your hands together for a moment. Mash up your fingers, roll your wrists, anything that helps you find that little bit of release. And now we'll move on to the shoulders. So grab, if you've got blocks, grab both blocks. If you only have books, and try and make sure that they're quite hard back or stiff books. Basically, we're going to place the block like this in between our hands. If you've got two blocks, make it like a T, like this, and then we're pressing them in between the palms. So don't grab on the blocks, press them in between the palms. If your shoulders are wider, you can make the T a little bit wider. This probably won't work with books. I don't even know if this configuration will work with books, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. So press it between the palms. We're working with protraction and retraction in the shoulder blades. And this is so that you can start differentiating, A, between shoulder and spinal movement, and B, so that you can really feel again into the subtleties of the shoulders, especially, you know, the scapula itself. You want to feel the positioning of it on the rib cage and start to really even develop a relationship with the scapula, because it's the shoulder blades and where you feel them on the body, it's that upward movement in a handstand. You really want to, basically you want to be friends with your shoulders and you want to get to know them on a very intimate level. So press, block between the palms, don't grip on the blocks, lengthen your arms out in front of you. For the moment we'll do this seated. Draw your lower ribs together and down so your belly is nice and stable. Your spine is neutral. Try to relax your shoulders down. Now press onto the blocks to start to activate the arms. We're going to retract. That means pull the shoulder blades together and then protract by broadening the shoulder blades. Pull them apart as you reach the blocks forwards. Retract and protract. So minimal, if not zero movement in the rib cage. The tendency is to go like this. That's not shoulder movement. That's a lot of spinal movement. So your protraction is you're pulling your shoulder blades apart. You're wrapping them forwards around the rib cage. And then your retraction is you're squeezing them together. Imagine you're squeezing something between them. A few more of these. Protract. This, I'm feeling this now. I'm burning. Retract. Protract. Retraction. This time hold in protraction. Think of really creating a hood with the back of your body, dome through the back of the heart. We call it Cobra Hood and Budokan. Round, 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 round through your upper back, but without getting the ribs involved. Just wrap. Imagine in fact, don't round your upper back. That wasn't anatomically correct. Wrap your shoulder blades forward. Yeah, we don't want to move the spine. And then relax. Whew. Okay. That shit literally has my shoulders on fire every single time. But hopefully you can start to feel that sense of, oh, it's different. There's this protraction pulling apart, this retraction pulling together, and if I don't move my rib cage, I'm really working my shoulders, you know. So now we're going to work with elevation. As you can imagine, it means lifting up, depression, pulling them down. This is where you're really feeding into a handstand here, because when you're in a handstand, you're pushing the ground away and you're not sinking into your shoulders. So actually you're upside down, but your shoulders are in a state of elevation because you're like push, 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 push. And our lats are going to work here. Because the tendency is to, when we elevate our arm, we tend to lift it like we're picking it up from the trap a lot, and it sort of causes the neck and the trap to be really like, ugh, sticky and tense. So when you are elevating, we're going to try and imagine that we're also lifting up from the lat. So it's like something is, the muscle itself, that it's like your muscles are scooping your shoulder blades up. So feel the lift if you can from here too. So we'll come to stand, and we're going to come to stand so it mimics a handstand, but upright. Again, blocks in between the palms, and take them up overhead. Press them down. So some people can't get biceps alongside the ears because you might have an obstruction in your shoulders. That's okay. Take them a little further forwards if you have to. Don't worry about that. Again, we're not here. Posterior tilt of the pelvis, and draw the rib cage down. Squeeze the bum, squeeze your inner thighs together and grow tall in the spine. Then we're going to lift, so elevate and depress. Elevate, depress. Try not to flare the ribs as you elevate. See if you can lift through your lats and depress. So can you maybe even close your eyes as you do this? Feel how the shoulder blades are sliding up and down the rib cage. Do a couple more. Elevate, depress, elevate and depress. Lift up, hold, press onto the blocks, squeeze everything into the midline of your body, draw your rib cage down, posterior tilt of your pelvis, and then relax. Whew. That is not fun. Come back onto your mat, place the blocks down on the ground, or the books, whatever you've got. Hands come onto the blocks. Okay, so now linking those 4 movements, you have got to make a circle through the shoulder girdle. So we are going to retract, elevate, protract, depress. Retract, elevate, protract, depress. So we're going to do this. I look like a train. Think of like a train, like this. That's what we're going to do with the hands on the blocks. Option 1, knees stay down, but take the knees a little bit further back so you are loading up the shoulders, so like a modified plank. Option 2, toes can tuck, and you can extend the legs back into plank pose, but you don't have to at this point. I'm going to take the easier route. So lean forward, shoulders over wrists, spread the fingers. Let's begin with retraction, elevation, shoulders towards ears, protraction, pull shoulder blades apart by pressing the ground away, depress, slide the shoulder blades down towards the lower back, retract, squeeze them together, elevate to the ears, protract, pull them apart, depress, pull them down. So continue like this. See if you can do it with your lower spine really super stable here. So draw your belly button in and keep the elbows locked. Elbow pits spinning forwards or maybe slightly inwards towards one another. And then pause in neutral. And let's take it back the opposite way. So we are going to, this time, so we retracted. Okay, so let's do protraction, elevation, retraction, depression. Protract, elevate to the ears, retract, squeeze together, depress, bring them down to the lower back, pull them apart, Lift them to the ears, squeeze shoulder blades together, pull them down to the lower back. So you're doing those circles in the opposite way. Make sure that your neck isn't too tense here either. Keep it nice and neutral. Keep your lower rib cage drawing in. Elbows stay locked. Slowly now find that protracted state. So pull the shoulder blades apart. Scoop your pubic bone towards your navel area. Squeeze the bum slightly. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. So far, we've worked with wrists, a little bit of fingertips, getting to know the mat. Forearms are starting to switch on, probably your triceps, and we've really started to fire up the shoulders. So important components, because feet are hands and hands are essentially legs in a handstand. Okay, pop your blocks to one side. Now for the fun part. So we're going to work with hollow body. Some of you might be familiar with that term. So when something is, think of hollow body, you know, when something is hollow, it's like it's concave. So we're going to try and create a concave shape in the front of the body. This applies to a handstand. We want to have a slight concaving action in the belly when we're in a handstand to help us find the line that everyone is obsessed with, but at the moment doesn't really matter. But it'll teach us to really firm everything up and draw it into the midline. So we're going to do a hollow body hold for 20 seconds. I'll give you options, and then we hold plank for 20 seconds. So we superset those two things. We rest for 20 seconds, and then we do it again. We'll do 3 sets. Okay, so come to lie on your back. First of all, press your lower back, because quite often, for most of us, naturally when we lie down, there's a little bit of a gap between the lower back and the floor. So find a posterior tilt. Roll your hip points towards your rib cage. Flatten your lower back on the ground. This will already probably start to fire your core up, especially that lower core. So option 1 for this hollow body hold is you're going to lift your shoulders off the ground and reach your arms forwards, and then bring your knees in line with your hips. This is option 1. So you're hollowing out, you're drawing the belly button down towards the spine. If your neck gets stiff, look up, don't look forwards. Option 2, extend the legs. Squeeze the inner thighs together, demi point the feet. Option 3, full variation. Option 4, little rocks. Stay in the hollow. Okay, so let's do it together. And we'll do 20 seconds. So set yourself up. 3, 2, 1, go. So if you're rocking, not too big in the rocks. Do for another 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Let's roll up, come into plank pose. Okay, so set yourself up. In this variation of plank, slightly externally rotate your hands. So perhaps your forefingers might be parallel, or just turn slightly out a little bit, like when you're going for planche, and you'll see why. So tuck the toes, squeeze your bum, squeeze your inner thighs together, lean forward, shoulders starting to lean past the wrists if you can. Grip the mat with your fingers, pull the mat apart, and then pull the mat backwards to turn your pecs on. Stay in here for another 15 seconds. If this is like pretty sweet, come onto the tops of the feet, squeeze the bum and lean even further forwards. To take it down a notch, drop the knees, but stay hollow in the body. So pull the shoulder blades apart, hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, rest. Got about 20 seconds rest. So notice already what you're feeling in your body, what the subtleties are, What parts are you, are there any parts of you maybe that are shaking a little bit where there's a lot of effort? Perhaps your shoulders are like on fire. Maybe doing that hollow body hold is like, your stomach is just like, oh my God, what is happening? Your bum, squeeze your bum the whole time. Like, feel your glutes as well. This is a full body activation. Okay, so come back down onto your back. Hollow body hold, hollow body, belly down. Lower back stays in contact with the ground the whole time. Don't let the lower back lift. If you've got your legs out and it starts to lift, bring your knees back in. Okay, together. Beginning in 3, 2, 1. Find your shape. Squeeze the legs, lower back stays connected. If you reach your arms back, keep reaching them back. Try not to lift them, looking up. Then point the feet. Legs are locked. Breathe. Maybe smile. Hold in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw the knees in. Roll up. Step back into your plank position straight away. Set yourself up. Press the ground away. Squeeze the bum. Roll your pubic bone towards your bottom sternum. Leaning forwards if you can, maybe flipping over the feet. Pull them apart, claw it back, hold in here. See if you can switch your pecs on as well. Try not to let your booty stick up. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And rest. Whew. Shake it out. Okay. How are you feeling? Hopefully good, hopefully alive. That's a good feeling. I love that feeling. I'm sweating. Alright, last round of this torture. Before we go on to some more torture. No, honestly, I swear, it becomes easier over time, this kind of stuff. It really does. And at the beginning, this kind of work, like calisthenics, it's the hardest at the beginning, and that's where you develop that focus, that sustained attention, that discipline, because you just keep at it and you keep at it. You're like a dog with a bone, and that's a good thing if you want to learn to handstand. Okay, last round. Hollow body in 3, 2, 1. Maybe you do those rocks again. Staying in the dish. Looking up. Arms reach back. Not rocking too much. Squeeze the legs. Lower back is down. Hold for 3, 2, 1. God. Let's roll up. Step back, plank pose. Set yourself up. Find that hollow body. Toes tuck or knees down, or perhaps tops of feet, and leaning forwards. Remember to slightly externally rotate the wrists if you need to. This lean helps you strengthen the wrists for press. Can you get your ribs to meet your hips? Hold in here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yes, you did it. Okay, well done. Have a drink of water. Pat on the back. It's not over. Okay, so remember, all of this, like handstands, what are they at the end of the day? I just think they're really fun. So we are doing this for fun as well. And I know that you see those, like, sometimes you see those like jokey yoga memes and stuff on Instagram where it's like, handstands don't make you enlightened, and it's like, no, obviously they don't. But what they do give you is discipline, dedication. They make you work, they make you concentrate, they make you focus, you learn a skill. So They might not enlighten you, but they can definitely make you a bit of a better person in some way because of all of those other things that are attributed to doing this kind of work. So just say, okay, some of you probably saw this on my Instagram, but this is the slidey thing that we're going to do. So you're going to have your hands down and we're going to find a plank pose shape, and we are going to, in your plank pose, toes can be tucked. If you want to untuck the toes you can do, but just be really mindful of your knees here. So plank pose, find protraction, so pull your shoulder blades apart and then pull your body up, so you're piking your hips up towards the ceiling and then send yourself back to plank. So as you pull your body up, you're squeezing your core and you're pressing the ground away. Stay pressing and then send yourself back. And then we'll do one leg and then the opposite leg. So we'll do 5 legs together, 5 right leg, 5 left leg. We might do this twice so you can really feel how it feels to start to pull and almost stack your hips over your shoulders. Don't worry if you don't have the length in the hamstrings that I do and you don't come as far in, that's fine. Take it to your maximum. Just make sure that you are really, the whole time, you're pushing the ground away, you're pulling the ground backwards, so you're clawing it backwards like this, and you're trying to use that compression and build that compression strength of pulling everything in. Okay, let's do it together. Find plank. 1, pull it in, push out, plank. 2, pull it in, push out, stay in protraction, pull in. 3, push out. 4, pull in. 5, try not to let the chest sink. Was that 5? We'll do one more. Pull it in and push it out. Now, draw your left knee in towards your chest. This is harder, okay? I'm warning you. Pull in with the right leg. Might not come as close. Push back. 1. Pull in. Push back. 2. 3. Push back. 4. Push back. 5. Push back. Plank. Whew. This time, draw the right knee in towards the chest. 3-legged plank. Pull the left leg in. Push it back. Pull it in. Press the ground away. Push it back. Slide it in. Push it back. Oh my god. 2 more. 1. Last one. Pull. Ah. Okay, we're not going to do 2 sets of that. But yeah, you can do if you want to. I did it yesterday. Whew. I feel it. So rather than another round of that, I'll give you one more exercise in case you want to repeat that. Plus this one, this is a very good exercise for building your compression strength. Compression strength is like strength that allows you to fold like this. Like this is my compression strength, how much I can bring my leg to my torso by lifting it through the power of my core and my hip flexors. So sit with your legs extended out in front of you. You can have your knees bent if you want to. Hands reach into more or less where the knees are. If you want to make this really hard, take your hands further forwards. Do I need to do that? I mean, it's up to you. I'm like, no thanks. So, hands are flat on the ground, straighten your arms and really contract and flex your core so you can see my background in here. So I'm really contracting. Keep the arms straight. We're going to pull the legs towards the torso. So pull your shins towards your face and we'll hold there. If you get cramp, you're human. Like, take them back down for a moment. Do what you need to do. We're going to aim for, let's say, 15 to 20 seconds. So press, engage core, lift. 15. 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. And again, you're working not only with compression, but you are working with the strength of protraction in your shoulders there too. Okay, ready for handstands? Well, falling first. So, we're going to come over to the wall. I'll show you from this angle how to fall out of it first, and then I'll turn you slightly more. Let me bring you slightly closer and slightly more there. Okay, so falling out of a handstand, because we're going to do some things with our chest to the wall, so we're going to face the wall. You can learn to cartwheel in and out. You can walk your hands back towards the wall so your feet slowly start to lift up. And then the third option is to learn to roll out of a handstand, but that requires learning how to forward roll. If you can already do that, then great. But obviously just be careful with that, because you could just drop right on your head, and I don't want to be liable for that shit. So, first one, kind of the easiest one, would be bring your hands on the floor, bring your feet onto the wall, so your hips lift, and then just start to walk your hands back, take your time. And we're going to try and bring ourselves quite close to the wall here, because we're going to find the hollow body position when we're there. If you're really not comfortable, hands can be further away so you're on a more diagonal. And then to come back out, you can walk forwards and come to here. Other option, be mindful of furniture, and for example, Mr. Easter Island head over there, is we can cartwheel in and cartwheel out. So again, my lead leg's my left leg, left hand comes down, right hand is going to come down, right leg comes up, and such. So you could come to here, and then to learn to come out the same way that you came in. So you're going to bring hand, foot, and then to go the other way, make sure there's nothing there. So it's a bit of a weird one. I would advise playing with this a couple of times. You know, if you cartwheeled when you were a kid, then I'm pretty sure you'll remember how to cartwheel. Whatever leg you're leading with, same hand comes down first, then opposite hand, leg, that back leg lifts, and then that front leg will lift. Okay, so now we are going to work with our chest to wall handstand, and this is all about building endurance against the wall before we actually take it away from the wall, because it's all great if you can get up into a handstand and look really super fancy, but if you can't hold it, then, you know, I don't really see the point. So this is something that's really, really helped me. So I'm going to bring the camera to this point, and hopefully you guys will be able to see exactly what's happening with my body as we translate that hollow body hold into a chest to wall handstand. Okay, and the intention with this is to build yourself up to holding for 3 1-minute individual handstands. So do 1 minute against the wall, 1 minute break, 1 minute against the wall, 1 minute break, 1 minute against the wall, 1 minute break. Obviously that is pretty arduous. So for today, we're going to try and get 30 seconds against the wall, and then around 45-second break. So we'll do 3 sets of 30-second handstands, chest to wall, hollow body as much as you can. So if you want to check my shape first before you go over to your wall and do this, I bring my wrists as close to the wall as possible, but I'm comfortable there. I slightly externally rotate my wrists. I'm not shrinking and sinking into my shoulders. Press the ground away. And then see, my bum isn't sticking back. Posterior tilt. Just like we were in the hollow body shape earlier. Literally just my toes are on the wall. My chest isn't touching the wall. I'm squeezing my glutes. I'm squeezing my inner thighs. And I'm pressing the ground away. So go and get yourself up in your handstand now. I'll give you about 15 seconds or so and then I'll start to count down. And just take your time to get in there. If you need to be at a slight diagonal whilst you're at the wall, feel free to. It's okay if you're not completely chest to wall at the moment. Okay, we'll start to count down together. So 30 seconds. 25. 20. 15. Stay strong, keep pushing the ground away. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And slowly come down. Walking forwards, cartwheeling out. Take your time. And just have a rest. Give your wrists a little roll out if you need to. Especially, you know, I like to bring the backs of my hands together and do this weird claw thing. It just helps. Give your shoulders a little shake as well. But keep moving, keep that blood flow. And we'll go back up in about another 15 seconds or so. So let's, again, I'll remind you of those 3 tenets of this advanced practice. It's that sustained attention, stay focused, subtle body awareness, take note of the intricacies, the delicacies, compassion. Even if you stay there for 10 seconds, that's 10 seconds. It's better than nothing. Okay, second round, get yourself set up. Bring in your self to the as comfortable as you can be, close to the wall. My hands are probably about maybe palm's distance or so from the wall. Squeeze everything together into the midline, hollow body, bum fires up, posterior tilt of the pelvis. Press the ground away so it's like your biceps are closer to your ears, like you're really shrugging your shoulders as hard as and as high as you can. Holding here for 30 seconds if you can. Maybe some of you are already going to go for 45 and you're going to pause the videos and you're going to do a minute. Holding for another 20. Squeeze the bum. When you start to feel the burn, push through it. For another 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly coming out, coming down. Dance it off, shake it off. Don't take it too seriously, it's fine. You know, we take shit so seriously all the time in life. Handstands do not have to be serious. You're walking on your hands. It's weird. Okay, last one of these. I haven't got any music on and it feels really weird. I hope you guys are enjoying whatever music you're playing or the playlist that I've sent you. Okay, one more. Let's go. So back. Chest goes back to the wall. This is where the wall is your friend and where it's good to use the wall, but let's not develop a codependent relationship. Okay, just 30 seconds of your life. Hold, press the ground away, shrug your shoulders up to your ears. That elevation of the scapula that you learned earlier. Squeeze the bum, posterior tilt of the pelvis. Don't stick your arse out. Inner thighs squeezing in towards one another. Heels and toes together. If your neck hurts, if you're looking at the ground, just let the head be heavy at this moment. Keep pressing away. Notice if you shrink into the shoulders. Keep shrugging them up. For another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Well done. You did really, really well. If you managed to even hold 10 seconds, be proud of yourself, be compassionate. Okay, so next up, next up at the wall, again, we're going to do this L leg swap. So what you'll do is you're going to measure the length of your leg away from the wall. So flex your feet, sit against the wall, find where your hip point is. This is where your hands are going to go. So your hands are going to come at this point. And then what we're going to do is set your hands up shoulder width apart. This is where you really want to focus on the falling out, cartwheeling out, because a lot of us don't want to fall over that way into a back bend. If you are afraid of that, I would suggest maybe if you've got like a sofa you can pull closer to you so then you can land on something, or maybe get someone to spot you if there's anyone else in the house with you. Or if needs must, put yourself in a corridor that's wide enough where if you did fall that way, there is a wall there. You know, I would rather we're not becoming reliant on walls, but if this is your first time doing this, then that's okay. You know, I can forgive you for being a little bit friendly with walls. So, hands shoulder width apart, grippy with your little gecko fingers. And what we're going to do is so what's important in a handstand is the stacking of ourselves. So if you look the way our bones are going to stack, you have your wrists underneath your elbows, underneath your shoulders, which go underneath the hips, and then eventually they go underneath the legs as the legs go straight up. But right now let's focus on getting the hips over the shoulders, and we're going to create an L in the legs, and we're going to do some swaps with the legs with that L, if you're comfortable. If not, we'll hold the L and see if you can maybe just hover the foot off the wall slightly. So bring one foot to the wall. I've got my right foot on the wall and it's planted on the wall. And then my left leg lengthens up towards the ceiling. Try not to let this leg externally rotate. Slightly internally rotate that thigh. See my shoulders? Don't sink in. Press the ground away with the shoulders. So L shape in the legs. And then maybe, if you're comfortable, look down in between the hands as you do this. Maybe you'll hover the right foot off the wall. Or maybe you will start to draw the right leg towards the left. And then swap. So that left foot comes to the wall. So it's very slow. As soon as you start wobbling, freeze the legs in the air. Don't bring them together. So if you're wobbling here, oh, I'm just going to stay here. Maybe you go, oh, oh, oh. Oops. And you're going to fall out, so it's hard to talk. So we'll do these L leg swaps. What I would advise is aim to get about 6 swaps like this. If you're not ready to swap, see if you can work with hovering that foot that's against the wall, just hovering it off a millimetre, let it tap back, and see if you can just find that moment of freestanding where this leg that's elevated is quite stacked, so the hips are stacking over the shoulders and hopefully that leg's pointing more or less up into the air. Keep thinking of the hollow body as well. Keep thinking of drawing your hips towards your rib cage, because that'll prevent you from just sticking your bum back, and when you stick your bum back you're probably going to fall over into that back bend that a lot of us don't want to do. So we'll go together. Yeah, I've not been practicing handstands as much recently, so This is just as much as a journey for me as it is for you right now. We're all human. So set yourself up. One foot on the wall, one leg lifted. That leg that's lifted, strong. Both legs are active and long. Okay, maybe you just hover the foot off the wall for a millimeter. Find safety there. Trust, trust, trust. Maybe you start to extend it up. Maybe you swap the legs. Notice what happens with your ribs. Try not to backbend. Try not to let the ribs flare. So I'm just going to kind of give you these few minutes to play. Hovering one leg and then the other off the wall, or swapping. Really, find the distribution of the weight between the fingertips, that thumb, the inner hand. Use the heel of the hand, use the fingertips to help you find balance. Keep pressing the ground away. And then when you're ready, when you're burning to a crisp in the forearms like I am, come down, shake it out. Good work, whatever you're doing. It's great, the fact that you're doing this video is amazing. Okay. Hopefully by now you're ready for a bit of freestanding. If you're not ready for freestanding work, rather than, if you want to, and you want to kick up and have the wall behind you because you're really not comfortable yet and you're really not at that stage of removing the wall, then this is your practice, this is your body, and it takes time to build the confidence and the trust. So maybe that's your compassion. Do this work a little, do this work at the wall behind you, but have your hands maybe about half of the length of your leg away from the wall when you're practicing your freestanding handstand. Those of you who are coming for freestanding handstand, find some space on the floor. And let's just, I need to give my forearms a little stretch before we do this. But these freestanding handstands take 5 minutes, right? I'm just going to explain it to you in this video. Pause it once you've gone through the explanation with me and maybe watch me demonstrate. And see if you can hold it for 10 seconds. If you've already got a good handstand, hold for 30 seconds. If you're super confident, see if you can get a 1 minute hold. And again, just as you did with the chest to wall, aim for 3 lots of freestanding handstands. So 3 lots of 10 seconds, 3 lots of 30, whatever it is. If you're working with the wall, try not to just be like kick up, kick up, kick up, kick up, because that's tiring. Take your time and constantly think of your hollow body whilst you're in the handstand. So let's set ourselves up. There's a couple of ways you can get into the handstand. I'm just going to teach you guys from your one-legged kick up like this. You could kick up from both legs and do a tuck. You could pike up, but let's just keep it simple. So hands are on the ground. Think of like doing a really short downward dog. Bring your left foot into the center of the mat, more or less underneath the belly. Lean the weight forwards into the shoulders. Grip the mat with your fingers. Like in a plank pose earlier, pull the mat back and apart. And then lift. Yeah, my left foot's in the center. Lift your right leg. We're not letting this hip open. So the right leg, the thigh, is internally rotating. So my inner thigh, the inner seam of the inner thigh, is spinning upwards. And that will help me to keep my pelvis neutral, which is a little bit easier once you get into the handstand. Lift up onto the ball of the left foot. Bend into the left knee. Try not to let this right leg swing down. The mass of your leg, the weight of your leg is already up there, so it's going to help you. Power is through the left leg. So keep pressing the ground away. Look slightly forwards. Keep looking forwards. Don't look underneath like this. Lean the weight forwards. Kick up. Lower. Kick up. Oh, maybe you catch it. Oh, have I got it? Yes. Press the ground away. So start to squeeze the inner thighs and think of that hollow body once more. So bum is firing. Pubic bone to sternum. Press the ground away. And it's like this constant shift of weight between the heels of the hands and the fingertips. And you can probably see it in my body, how I'm slightly wobbling and moving back and forth, and it's this interaction of hands on the ground. So you'll feel the weight. Try not to let it go into the outer edge of the hand. Try to have it more in the inner edge of the hand, the thumb and those first two fingers. And you'll feel this kind of like shifting. So let's, take your time, pausing the video at this point if you want to. Do that a few times, kicking up off the left leg. See if you can find your line, find whatever. And then next up, we will kick up from the right leg. So everything that you've done today, the elevation, the hollow body, everything that you've done applies into a handstand. Bring it all in there. Don't just forget it all. Don't forget that subtle body awareness and all of that focus and just become a big wet noodle once you kick up. It is the tendency because it's an unnatural position to be in. Your legs start flailing. But don't forget that. And it's fine to fall out. Just tolerate that it's going to be messy for a while. I still fall out all the time. You'll probably see it happening. So, opposite side. Hands down. Make sure you've given yourself a break after you've done a few kick-ups off the left side, and especially if you've held, 2-3 times, or maybe even just the once. So right foot in the center, more or less under your belly button. That left leg is strong. It's not going to go all wobbly once I kick up. Lift onto the ball of the right foot. Lean, shoulders over the wrists. See, already my hips are trying to stack up. Take a little hop up. Oh, that was too much. So hop in. There we go. Okay, so press the ground away. Squeezing everything into the midline. It's not happening for me today. Okay. So yeah, obviously you can see I'm tired. I need practice too. But I'm going to do a little hop again. This time I might even snap and bend my right knee and keep my right knee drawn in towards my chest, because that can help me keep a neutral pelvis too. Just another thing if you did want to try it. So as you lean forwards, you might want to do this little knee into chest, and it might help you stack a little easier. Rib cage is drawing down. Find the hold. Still thinking hollow. And then just again, continue to play. Continue to find the holds if you want to find the holds. I'm not gonna create a video with me just holding a handstand for like 30 seconds and not talking, because it doesn't really help you guys. So, next little thing I wanted to talk about was press. So press is hard. It is very hard. It's a very advanced thing to be able to do. For me, it happens on some days, it doesn't happen on other days, and that's absolutely fine. Some days, like, your shoulders are just super tired, doing a lot of handstands can really get into your rotator cuff. And the press comes from a lot of compression strength, which we talked about earlier when we did this gem. So a lot of people talk about something called puppy press. I did learn how to do that I suppose it worked for me to a certain degree, but there's other ways that you can learn to press, and people do it in different ways. Some people who have tighter hamstrings really are able to go so far over the wrists and have super strong shoulders, and like the strength in their trap 3 in their back here is so insane that they can like just lift up. I fortunately have very lengthened hamstrings, so I can come into this forward fold and then rely a bit more on my I suppose it's like my psoas and my deep core strength to lift me up. So it's going to look different and feel different for different people. So one thing you can use is blocks for pressing. So for example, you could put your feet, let me put them this angle. You could have your feet on blocks, and this will just help you to lift your hips a little bit higher, so that when you're working with that press, you're stacked already. So you would lift up onto your tippy toes and round your upper back. So think of like an angry cat, you're rounding and you're pressing the floor away as much as you possibly can. And I'm pulling my belly button in towards my spine. As I lean forwards, I'm really trying to think of like I'm clawing the floor backwards through my fingertips so that I pull my weight up and over. So here we go, we're going to press away. Press, 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 press. Maybe you start to hover. Maybe your feet go out to the sides and you might come into this straddle handstand. And then if you have lifted, we will work the eccentric. So come down as slowly as you can back onto the blocks. And quite often, I think a really good way of, helping your press is to come, when you get your handstand, come down as slowly as you possibly can every single time to build that strength, the eccentric strength, which is the strength to lower down. So yeah, working on blocks is one good way of practicing for press. You could do feet together on the blocks as well, the pike press. That one is probably the most difficult in my opinion. And if maybe you don't quite have the strength to get both legs up at this moment, or the straddle, you can play around with pulling one knee in towards the chest. So it's kind of like a half press, and puppy is where you take it out to the side. Puppy is like the dog peeing on a bush. This variation is I'm drawing my knee in towards my chest. I'm really flexing my hamstring. So again, set yourself up. Find that real big dome in through the upper back. I'm going to pull my right knee in towards my chest and lift up onto my left tippy toes. Keep tilting forwards. And maybe the left leg lifts up towards the sky. And you find your handstand shape. And then again, see if you can lower down super slow to come out. So that's another one to play with, of pulling knee in towards the chest, and it helps you to, again, just shift the weight a little bit more over the shoulders. Again, it's I can only really teach what I know. I don't know how to teach a press that comes with like a great big planche lean over the wrists, because I just simply don't have that in my body. So I'm just teaching you guys from my perspective, I suppose. So yeah, those are two methods that I would advise working with. You can play with a wall as well. I don't really like doing that, but there is the variation where you can fold against a wall. You bring your hands down probably about a palm's distance away, and then you bring your upper back, the back of your neck and the back of your head onto the wall. it means that you lean over the wrists, but that can help you sometimes to press up. I'll see if I can demonstrate it. I can't promise anything, so I'll do it from the straddle. So I'm back of my head and my upper back is on the wall here. And I'm going to try to round as much as I can through my spine. Oops. There we go. But for me, it feels a bit strange doing that, but then you can pull yourself away from the wall. But that's, again, it's like you have to lean more over the wrists. So it depends on your body composition and how you are, you know, your anatomy. You know your anatomy better than me. But I think with handstands in general and with press, what's really helped me is a couple of really small exercises that we're going to do in a moment. And one is called a Cuban rotation or an external rotation, and it's just this movement. Strengthens my rotator cuff a lot. And we're doing this at the end of the session just so you can really feel it and you can hopefully feel the subtleties. And the other exercise is a trap 3 raise. So this is straight arm strength. You keep your arms straight and we do this, but we're in this position. So we'll be here. And so the trap 3, you'll know your trap muscle, but the trap 3 will be this section of the bottom part of the trap. So you might see it on me, you might not, but it's strengthening that section of the shoulders, so kind of where the bottom of the shoulder blades are, and that kind of almost mid-back area / bottom of the upper back is just like, it's just revolutionized handstands for me, and it's given me the capacity to press and the strength to press. But then I also, my shoulders are, they're injury free. I've had like one little funky thing in my rotator cuff just from doing handstands constantly, but that's it, you know. So grab your weight. I love this thing, it's ridiculous. So I think we'll do the trap 3s first because they are the hardest in my opinion. I'm just gonna show you guys one set, then I want you to pause the video and do 2 more sets. So do 3 sets of these in total, and the same with the next exercise. So you can bring yourself into like a lunge position. If you've got something to lean your left hand on, do so. So if you've got like a chair or a table or something that you can lean on there, then that's great. I don't have anything in the middle of the floor, but that's okay. So I'll come a bit closer. So the weight's in my right hand. I'm going to retract, so pull my right shoulder blade towards the spine. Then I'm going to externally rotate, not too much, but slightly externally rotate, so I'm opening my arm. And then keep the retraction and the external rotation. I'm going to lift this up to just above my head and lower down. Stay retracted, so shoulder blade towards the spine and external rotation. Ribs down, lift, hold, and lower. And we'll go for 3, 4, keep that retraction, 5, so that shoulder blade we're trying to pin, and 6. And we'll just do 6 on each side to begin with. You know, over time, take this up to 8 reps. At the beginning, we're just holding 1 second at the top, but take it up to holding for 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds while your arms locked out. So lunging into your right leg this time. Weight is in the left. Retract. So pull your shoulder blade towards your spine. Externally rotate. And then slowly keep that elbow locked. Draw the ribs down. Hold for 1. Bring it down. lift, 2, hold, keep it retracted, 3, re-retract if you need to, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So do 2 more sets of them. And then once you're finished, we'll move on to our Cubans, our external rotations. So grabbing your weight again. I'm going to face away from you just for a moment. So you're going to set yourself up either on the floor so you can prop your right arm on your right elbow on your right knee, and then you're going to open so that your shoulders are in one line. It becomes harder if you turn to face your arm. So from this angle you can see I'm pretty open. And then this right shoulder is going to stay depressed. So try not to let the shoulder lift as we do the movement. Keep it depressed and try not to let it roll forward. So like you're pinning the scapula into place on your spine. And then we're going to simply lower, rotating down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift back up, 1, 2. Lower down for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift back up for 2. You see it from this angle. We'll go for 6 of these. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift, 1, 2. So that's 3. Shoulder stays down. You can even hold it down. That's 4. Just 2 more. Whew, I'm feeling it after all the work we've done. 5. Try to sit nice and tall in your spine. And 6. Whew. And we'll swap. And these 2 exercises as well, the trap 3 raise and this, it will highlight the difference in strength on the 2 sides of your body. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. I think if you start incorporating this, you will start to even out in your strength, but we always have one dominant side, so don't worry about it. If you did want to do an extra few reps on maybe a weaker side, you can do. Okay, so set yourself up, chest is open, left shoulder blade depressed and pinned to your back. Don't let it roll forwards. Take it for 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift. That's 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift. That's 3. Keep it pinned down. 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. 2 more. Last one. 3, 2, 1, and 6. Okay. So again, do 2 more sets of those, on each hand. Try to really stick to the count. Down for 4, up for 2. Begin with 6 reps, 3 sets. After that, go up to 8 reps. Maybe if you're just using 1.5 kilo, after a little while, go to 2 kilo, then go to 2.25, then 2.5. Go up quite slowly if you can. I think I started doing this with 2 kilo about a year and 4 months ago. I've only started doing 3 kilos like 3 or 4 months ago. So really take your time to build the weight. This isn't about the weight, it's about doing it nice and slowly and being really strict in the movement, exactly the same as the trap 3s. These movements, if you do them and the quality is there, real good quality, strict in the movement, you've got that subtle awareness, then you'll build the strength that you need to. And yeah, as soon as the quality starts dropping, stop doing what you're doing. You know, it's like, what's the point in lifting weights and doing these things if you're just being floppy about it or you're being negligent, you know? Yeah, so that's the hard work done. So I hope you're feeling good. Grab a hold of your resistance band if you've got one. If not, maybe grab like a belt or something. And we're going to just give the shoulders a little bit of a floss, a little bit of a stretch, and I'll let you go. So flossing shoulders. I'm going to move my spine a little bit after a while, but let's hold the resistance band in both hands, and we're just going to keep the ribs down. For now, just take the resistance band back behind us, keeping the arms locked, and take it forwards. So just flossing it back and forth. If you want to take it a little bit around to create these sorts of kind of like semi-circular, slightly more arching motions, you can do. And then, you know, after a little while, feel free to bring a little bit of upper back movement and, you know, spinal movement into it as well, because that might help you if you want to stretch out the lats a little bit too. So just get creative with this. I just like playing around with the resistance bands after so much work on the shoulders. Maybe even bend the elbows, like cactus them out, see how that feels. See how it feels as well. I was just doing it before to take a little side stretch. Roll it forwards. Okay, and then feel free to keep playing with that for a moment. Oh, if you're ready to let it go, just swing your arms out to the sides. And then let's go for our eagle wrap, and then we'll do our cow face in the shoulders, just to stretch through the back of the shoulders and then the front of the chest. So eagle, we'll take right arm over left arm. Either give yourself a hug. If you give yourself a hug, think of pulling the shoulder blades apart like this and just rounding through your upper back. If you're taking the double wrap, lift the forearms up and press them away from you. And then again, I'm just going to kind of give you space to explore and feel into this shape. Be quite intuitive with it. And then open the arms out. And then let's take the left arm over the right arm. And gently. Just again, the intention is to create some space in between the shoulder blades. Open the arms out. Perhaps grab the belt or the band again if you need to actually. I'm going to come into our cow face. So left arm, take it behind your back, bend the elbow. Imagine you're trying to reach into the middle of the back with your left hand. Right arm, take it up, bend the elbow, take it behind the head. Maybe fingertips come together, use a strap if you need to. And then can you, rather than flare your ribs out, intentionally again draw the ribs down and then lift your chin slightly so your back of your head slowly and gently pressing into the right upper arm, the right forearm, sorry. If you want to, maybe even slightly let your head drop to the right. You might feel a little bit of a sensation in the left side of the neck. And then let's let's take it to the opposite side. So right hand goes up the back, left elbow bends, left hand behind the head. And then again, draw the rib cage down, spine is neutral, and gently press the head into the left arm. And I like to drop my head slightly to the left, just so, because I know that the front of my right shoulder quite often feels quite tight. But again, it's your place to explore. Okay, and then release. And then just feel free to take any other stretch that you want to. You can come onto your belly, maybe take a broken wing. If you want to do a couple of little up dogs or cobra poses to stretch your belly too. And yeah, thank you for practicing. Hopefully you learned something, maybe you achieved something today. Feel free to break up some of the exercises on this. Maybe take the first little chunk, do it 4 times a week, just that hollow body practice, those strengthening moments. Maybe the handstands themselves don't need to be done every day, especially if you have sore wrists or shoulders. So maybe twice a week actually incorporate the handstands, but see if you can use all of the other smaller moments and smaller practices to help you build up that strength, which will give you the handstand, and it'll have more integrity once you get there. So thank you.